Welcome to the late show. This is our review, roundtable discussion, what have you, of Doctor Strange. Since Andre got to talk about it the other day, we're just going to do our own here in place of Midnight's Edge After Dark. So that's going to be the main topic of tonight. Hope everybody's doing good. Hopefully you got a chance to see the film. If not, warning, we will probably get into spoilers. If not right away at some point here, I'm sure. Let's go around the horn and introduce everybody. I'm Tom Connors, of course, and with me tonight is the one, the only Mexican Iron Man. How you doing, my friend?
Well, I'm always happy to be here with you, Tom. Always love being with Script Doctor. Always love being with the Sagacious Lovely Six. And but after seeing this movie, I have my upset Mexican Iron Man helmet on.
Well, don't give away your feelings yet.
Okay.
Also joining us, of course, as you just said, Six. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I saw a movie today.
We did.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. And then we also have with us Script Doctor. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
And you actually subjected yourself to this Strange New Worlds bullshit. I don't know why you'd do such a thing, but
I was fascinated to see how bad it would be, and I was not disappointed in how bad it was.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Yes. But we're going to talk about Doctor Strange, not Strange New Worlds. But maybe another time we'll get into that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to convince myself to watch it or not. But yeah, let's kick things off. Let's say hello to everybody. We got some regulars in the chat. I see Steven, aka Deleted Scenes. I see Dr. Meatball. I see Six in the chat and on the stream. House of Trades is here. Sander Hammerslag's here. Warren G's here. Are you the rapper, Warren G? I thought he was dead. Or was that
Regulators?
Mount up.
What up?
We got Tekkaman Blade. We got Wild Rose. Speaking of people in the chat and on the stream, I see Mike all over in the chat. And he sent us a member chat. Why don't you just read it since you sent it, my friend? Or it's in the member chat. I suppose you can't see it. Huh?
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Oh, is it there?
Yeah. It
Okay.
says, watch the trial in style. Be like Mexican Iron Man and order your Amber Turd t-shirt today. Yep. I've worn it twice in the last week and a half.
Get it now while you can, kids. They are, I kept saying they're limited edition. This is it. When the trial's over, they're gone.
For those who didn't hear this the other day, I think I sent it in a super chat when I was driving in the car. I had my shirt on. I met a client and one of his workers at a wine bar on the beach here in Hilton Head. Total conversation starter. Female bartender loved it, and so did the people at the table next to me.
Well, I have a feeling after the trial's over, nobody's going to be that interested, and I don't need her ire coming after me because she's not going to be as distracted. So, not that I think she can do anything, but yeah, she's going to want to sue somebody.
Did I mention that the shirt comes in a variety of fashionable styles and colors?
It does, and you can get hoodies and tank tops. Hey, how you doing, Gary?
You can get it on a hoodie?
Yeah, you can get a hoodie.
I didn't know that. I love hoodies.
Yeah. I should get one of their hoodies. I haven't gotten one yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to talk some Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness, or whatever the hell it's called. And I think I put into the isn't and the Multiverse of Madness, isn't it? What is it called?
Isn't it into?
Isn't it? I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I got the damn title right. But yeah, let's break into this. It's kind of tough to say, well, how did you feel about the first film and then get into this one? Because there's been like 12 films in between there. But I loved the first Doctor Strange. Enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't know about you guys. How about you, Mike? Did you like the first one?
Loved it. In fact, Doctor Strange, I grew up a DC guy, not a Marvel guy. And Doctor Strange is probably one of the very few comic book characters that I liked and read in the Marvel Universe. And I really enjoyed that first movie. That movie was not without some problems and issues that could have been improved upon. But overall, I had a thoroughly enjoyable time when I saw it. And I own it. And I love it.
All right. What about you, Six?
Well, I love the first movie. I love arrogant doctors. I liked how
In other words, you liked House.
Never watched it.
Really?
Yeah, never saw an episode. I really enjoyed the first movie. I've been trying to rewatch it as kind of a freshener upper over the last couple weeks, but I just haven't haven't quite made it past the first half hour. But yeah, I consider myself a Doctor Strange, or I did consider myself a Doctor Strange fan up until a few hours ago.
Wow. Well, you guys are telegraphing your feelings a little bit.
Yeah.
Script Doctor, how about you? Did you like the first one?
I thought the first one was okay for a good introduction for Benedict Cumberbatch. His American accent needs work still, but yeah, enjoy the first one. This one here, all I can say is my criticism of John Krasinski was proven correct, as I knew it would be, and yeah, I'm very happy with that.
Boy, y'all are just telegraphing the shit out of your feelings.
I didn't. I was good. I stayed to the topic and the question at hand about
Well,
the first movie.
You were the first one to say you didn't have a good night.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Oops. Hashtag it's Cinco de Mayo. I get a pass.
It is Cinco de Mayo. Are you good and drunk?
No.
Aren't you required?
Well, I mean,
He sounds mad about it too.
well, Mexican Iron Man had himself, since you're asking, Tom, Mexican Iron Man had himself two options. Now, since I did have fun in Nashville, but since I've been back, I've had absolutely the most hellish week on the personal front and on the business front. And today being Cinco de Mayo, after 12, 15-hour workday, I said to myself, hola, Mexican Iron Man, si, en que puedo servirle? You deserve a treat today. Bueno, okay. So, Mexican Iron Man, would you like to A, go to the movies and see Doctor Strange, Multiverse of whatever the hell? Or would you like to go to a local bar, drink, have margaritas, do tequila shots, and hit on some chickadees at the local bar? Pues, déjame pensar en eso. Well, I picked the movie. I should have gone to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Look, we got Yellow Flash in the house. He says, I love how Wanda beats herself.
Yep.
Well, we'll kind of get to that, actually.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, hello and welcome, Yellow Flash. And we got Brado Jacko in the house as well, who sent in $2 and says, Doctor Strange 1 was decent, giant missed opportunity. I don't know how you mean this one was a missed opportunity or the first one? I thought the first one was probably one of the better origin films of the MCU.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as like feeling fulfilled from it, and it didn't really have to rely on the other films so much. At that time was saying a lot, considering it was like the 18th fucking Marvel movie or something like that. No, I enjoyed it quite a bit, the first one, but now we're going to talk about the second one. First, we're going to get some initial impressions, and then we're going to get into spoilers, guys, because we're not going to waste too much time. We don't have Script Doctor for too long, and I have no idea who else is going to show up here. So let's get our first impressions. Let's let ladies go first. Six, what did you feel after seeing this first movie? This movie, the second one. Just your initial impressions. Don't get into spoilers and all that business.
My initial impressions are I'm glad I saw it, but I did get a discount because I went to a super early afternoon show. But I wanted to leave. If you hadn't told me that you might live stream tonight with a review panel, I think I would have walked out because I felt like there's so much, I could have spent time on the Midnight's Edge Gilded or just doing some other stuff that we've got in the pipeline. I really thought, gosh, I could go home and do something productive, but I thought, no, I'm going to stick it out. And I am glad that I did. But it wasn't, it was okay. It was a movie.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Let's go with Script Doctor next. You sounded like you weren't too happy when you come in here.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a movie. There's that. It's got a weird pacing to it, and it only feels like Sam Raimi directed maybe 4 sequences out of the whole thing. A lot of hair and makeup issues for the main character. I remarked earlier that it looks like he's wearing one of those plastic Lego head hair pieces, the toys.
I kind of know what you're getting at, yeah.
Yeah, that's what Andre had said on Midnight Edge the other day.
And his goatee goes from very very dark black to a more softer black, and it goes from very finely cut and groomed to a bit more softer, and almost like one is a fake goatee and another one is a real goatee, and they just added color to it. Um, so you can kind of tell that there's some sort of disconnected aspects to between what they originally shot and what they did shoot, but I don't know which one would be first or second.
Right.
Um, the actor who plays America Chavez is good. Um, she is not a Mary Sue, which is nice. And yeah,
You
that's
sound so enthused.
well, I will say this: I was more entertained with it than the Batman, because Doctor Strange 2 makes more sense than the Batman,
This
narrative
is
wise.
true.
But yeah, it feels like it wasn't a Raimi directed film, and it doesn't even feel like it was it's not really a well written film either. Very exposition heavy. Um, I will say the levity in it was a bit more on point. It didn't stop the movie, and it wasn't joke.
I kind of expected more being Sam Raimi. There wasn't really that many jokes or moments of humor or levity at all. There was like maybe 3 times I chuckled.
Yeah, I think I only chuckled once at the like the Spider-Man conversation that they had in the diner
Yeah, that was one
when
of
they're
them.
talking about the web, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean
laughed
the
too.
one punchline at the end of that was like that was good, because it came from an honest place from at least Doctor Strange's perspective. But yeah, no, without getting into spoilers, yeah, it's adequate.
Except there's a
If you're a diehard Marvel fan, you'll enjoy it. But if you're getting tired of the pattern of behavior and quality or lack thereof of Marvel films, you're just going to add to the disappointment.
Mikey.
Well, I mean, I'm a tequila bottle half full kind of guy. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
So I'm with
categorized
6.
you
Had
as
I,
that.
if I had not agreed to, if I had not already said that I was going to be on this live stream at 10 o'clock Eastern, as per our Tuesday night show, I would have walked out of that movie multiple times. And when we get to spoilers, I can tell you all of the different times that I would have walked out of this movie. It got to this movie. This movie, the funniest parts of this movie were the ones where no comedy was uttered, where I was just laughing at what I was seeing on the screen. And I deliberately avoided spoilers. I deliberately avoided any review shows. I going into this movie, I didn't even watch the show yesterday on Wednesday that Andre did with you. Like I avoided everything in order to go in cold to the best ability possible. And all I knew about this movie is that reshoots happened. So I don't know what the reshoots were, but if this movie was worse than before the reshoots, then holy hellfire tarnation. But I would have walked out of this thing. Let me put it to you this way: as everybody knows from various rants that I've done on Midnight Edge After Dark, a couple other channels. I walked out of Shang-Chi right about the time the rabbit chicken took them to the interdimensional portal in the forest that they couldn't see, but he found blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah, why didn't they just use one of those?
Don't even get me started. That's one of my ranty points.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah, so we'll get there. We'll get there. I've got 4 or 5 different like key scenes in this movie here. When we get to spoilers, that I can blow through a short list.
Yeah.
I wanted to walk out of this movie more than I wanted to walk out of Shang. Like I'd rather go watch and see Shang-Chi the ending, even though I already know what happens, than never see this movie again. So there we go. There's my overall without any spoilers. So I am on a panel with Tom Connors, who's about to be the most optimistic reviewer ever.
Yeah, it sounds like he enjoyed it the most out of all of us.
Well, I haven't even got to say anything yet to the crowd because you guys got the preview, but I didn't end up hating it. I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, I'd probably put it at more of a Iron Man 3 kind of level. Somewhere in there. Like, it's not the top 10, but it's definitely better than Captain Marvel, Thor: The Dark World, shit like that.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's not. Maybe my expectations were so beaten down by Chris and Andre and a few other people that I just kind of went in, and by the end of it, I'm like, well, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. But I totally see where Mike's from, because there's a few parts where I'm just asking myself questions, stop and wondering, why aren't they using this character or that rabbit chicken, for instance? It's like, there was just little things here and there that I was just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of nagging at me, but I'm not pulled out of the movie like I was with the Batman, right? Like, I get where Script's coming from. Like, I enjoyed this experience more than the Batman. It's an hour shorter. That fucking helps.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam Raimi can make a movie. I mean, it's a movie, like you said, Script Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But without getting into spoilers now, because we're still not there yet, I'm going to say this, and I said this to you guys before the show. I don't know if you agreed or not, because you didn't really say or not. I mean, kind of, but I feel like this should have been like the last 3 episodes of WandaVision. I don't understand, or last 2 episodes. I don't understand why this is a Doctor Strange movie.
I think this should have been WandaVision, actually.
Exactly, yeah. This should have been at least the climax of WandaVision, and I'd have been a lot more satisfied with that, because I checked out. Because if this would have been that, then I would have felt, because I understand now where Chris was coming from with why he's like, it felt very Disney Plus. Because it does. It feels like filler. It's a movie, but it's not quite a movie. And there is things in there that kind of call back to the original Doctor Strange, which is nice. But at that point, then it feels like as soon as we get into those kind of moments, then we get ourselves pulled back into things from WandaVision. And we'll get into that, because I don't want to get too deep into spoilers right now. But before we get into spoilers, I do want to get into super chat. So if there's any more initial thoughts you guys wanted to get out of the way before we do that, let me know now. And,
well, I can do that without spoilers. Like, one of the things that this movie really struggled with is that each of the characters have their own issues that they're dealing with, but they're kind of just presented and not actually explored or resolved in a way that's traditional with storytelling, especially with the Marvel formula of storytelling. So that kind of was disappointing. You're like, oh, this is an interesting idea, and then we don't even address it or see the consequences of it, and then at the end it gets wrapped up, and you're like, I've missed something, and there's nothing really you can do much about it. So I just want to throw that out there.
Well, and Austin Wood said in chat that it felt like it was a WandaVision finale level. And I agree with that. And I agree with what you said, Tom.
Yeah.
I loved WandaVision. Absolutely loved the show. I really empathized with her level of grief. So it spoke to me in that way. But my least favorite episode of WandaVision was the finale. And this movie would have been much better in place of that. Because for me, Wanda was the best part of this movie. And that's all I have to say.
And with that, it's Tom's turn.
Well, I was going to support her, but I'm like, is that a spoiler or not? So let's get into these super chats, and then eventually, yes, I'll get into.
Oh shit! I'm so sorry.
No. I was gonna because there was something I was gonna say, but I'm like, is that technically a spoiler kind of ish? I mean, because I kind of said something to the same effect already. But House Atreides says, "Hail Midnight's Edge After Dark" and panel. DS2, Doctor Strange 2, summed up as identity politics and overload. See, I didn't get this. I didn't get the overly woke shit. I mean, there was the few lines and moments that stood out, but I didn't get it as hardcore as I was expecting it. How about you guys?
No, I did not get taken out with any concept of wokeness. Yeah, that just might be what is it, like an echo effect, like a battered wife syndrome, where someone flinches and you think they're going to hit you, and it's like a complete stranger, maybe. I don't know.
And it can't
I just didn't see it.
Yeah, and it can't even be like, because at least with Hawkeye, I can accept somebody's argument that basically the whole show was her kind of doing everything and whatever. But
yes,
we
liked her being more active. Yeah,
but we liked her character, so we overlooked some of that shit. Whether you like this character or not, I think the argument can be made that I think Andre made this argument yesterday, that even though, she's technically quote unquote one of those key characters, let's say, she is, her place in the plot is there for a reason, and Doctor Strange is a big part of that, let's say.
Yeah, we can explore it in spoilers, because that's actually one of the better things of this movie that it has. So
Yeah, I didn't hate the America Chavez character. I didn't at all.
Yeah,
I don't know
neither
how
did I.
Mikey felt about her, but I just was kind of meh.
Well,
I
I can
fucking
say
hated
this
her.
since we're not in the spoilers and respond to this chat super chat specifically, which I think it's great. Let's bust through all the super chats and then go into
Well, and
spoilers.
he
But
says the sad part is I loved the Wanda character not anymore.
yeah, I feel
Yeah,
the
go ahead,
same.
Mike.
I feel the same way, and I've said this many times. I am as a minority. My force fields go up about anti woke shit, whether it's female or minorities or characters. I'm so
Honestly, I'm not even sure what the problem is with the same sex issue in this movie, but go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
well. I was just gonna say I'm gonna use what Script said is exactly how I felt. Like, yeah, I felt myself waiting to be triggered, but never actually triggered on the wokeness part. And that's me. And I've got a very, very low bar for that shit. I got a low ass bar, for that. I mean, it was obviously, yeah, I mean, their character choices were like real pretty funny, but well, I won't get into spoilers, but once we saw
Yeah.
what happened to some of the characters, then
We're gonna get there though.
Yeah.
Were
Huh?
you gonna say something, Six?
No.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. I thought you were sorry. No, that's okay. I thought you were just before Mike started. So, Brado Jacko says, "What screwed Raimi worse, Spider-Man 3 or Strange 2?" Well, we have to wait and see how Strange 2 works out.
Well, I mean, Spider-Man 3 was technically hijacked from Raimi, and Strange 2, Raimi was brought in to help it. So that's two different points of
Yeah, exactly.
origin.
And then on the other side, though, I mean, yeah, I don't know. See, Spider-Man 3 did put a damper in his career.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is ironic because it was Avi Arad and all those other guys that were forcing him to do stuff in that movie. He didn't
Right.
want to
Well,
do.
Sandman was all him, though.
Yeah, the Sandman stuff. Yeah, that was not done well.
No, as bad as everything else in that movie, you can't give him an excuse for that one. Then Cardinal Sin sent us in a super sticker. Let me see if I can see what it was here. Let's see. I think I had it copied and pasted.
I sent it to you.
Did you? Okay. It is a pair that says thank you. Oh, well, thank you, Cardinal Sin. We appreciate that. I was watching you for a little bit yesterday in the background. I was lurking. Floral from Under a Rock says, I don't know if I can trust Script's critiques unless he doxes himself and gives us all of his private details. By the way, a bowl is part of a seed. Okay. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
I think it's
Like a ball?
Yeah.
Like a bowl? Then we got VR in the house who hasn't seen the movie yet, or he'd probably be here. Says, can this movie do 500 global this weekend? Because that's what Disney desperately needs. I don't know. There was
I don't know either.
What were your predictions? What were all of your predictions for this week?
Mine
this
was
weekend?
120 to 150 local and maybe 250 globally. I think it was. I never gave a global prediction.
Yeah, I knew. I'm pretty sure it's going to break 100 million over the weekend. I'm pretty sure.
There
about
wasn't
that.
many people in my theater, but granted, I was at the 3D showing, and there was already like 2 or 3 showings that had started just before mine in the 2D. So
mine was packed.
yeah, I was gonna say there was a lot of people at the theater, but there wasn't a shit ton at my screening, and clearly the guys were trying to upsell the Doctor Strange popcorn thing, and I didn't fall for it this time. I thought about it.
You had
It
a
was-
Doctor Strange popcorn thing? What
Yeah, it
was
was like
It's
an
a
orange.
cube.
Yeah, it was an orange cube square thing that had like the designs and stuff all over it. Kind of like the one he had in Spider-Man, more than he didn't really have anything like that in this one. So
it? Oh.
My
No.
popcorn oil leaked through my cheap ass popcorn holder and got all over me.
I don't use those holders. I just use the bag or the whatever. So yeah. Do I think it can do 500 over the weekend? No. I think that's a tall fucking. I don't even think did Spider-Man even do that over the fucking opening weekend. I don't even think that did that well.
I think it got there just before the second weekend.
I was gonna say it did okay, but not that well. So, in the end of the day, this movie is. I have to temper my original prediction because my original prediction was going off of the idea that there were supposed to be these dozens of cameos that weren't in the film.
It was like
Spoilers.
5.
Nope.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that was disappointing. Oh,
yeah, we'll get into
Never
that
mind.
here. No, you're fine.
Yeah, that's not a
Cos-
spoiler.
Yeah, most of the cameos are in the fucking trailer. Cosmo James says, I've seen it. I didn't hate it, but it's not very good. Felt like I was watching 5 different movies at once. Yes,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I
that's
was
pretty
saying.
accurate.
Amen.
It felt like every time we would go into something that would feel like a Doctor Strange sequel, we'd have to jump to something from WandaVision, and then even a little bit of the What If series and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, I like how they're kind of coming together, but at the same time, it just felt very. And that maybe is this reshoots, you know, that could be a big part of it. But we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. Here, I almost got into some.
That's my
possible
theory. I
spoilers.
think the reshooting brought down the level of wokeness, whereas I think it was probably ramped up. But I mean, I'll never know. But that's what I think.
Maybe. Nikki D says, "Do you think the normies will like it enough to watch it multiple times like they did No Way Home?" No.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
No, I think the rewatchability factor of this one is very slim. Because I don't know, because you don't even have the grand visuals of the first film as much. Because this movie is more, how do I put it? It's more about going to different multiverses than it is seeing all the cool Doctor Strange like spells and trippiness that we got out of the first film. Like, there's not a whole lot of his like cool trippy shit comparatively to the first film, and it's just not as fun. It's not a very fun film. I think
Yeah,
I
they
can say
could have
that
done so much more with the multiverses. And
exactly.
I felt like that one scene, there was some interesting things in there, but it wasn't explored. It wasn't fleshed out enough
No,
to where it would have been, you know, they have multiverse in the fucking title of the movie, and it just wasn't multi enough for me.
no, I agree. That's part of my problem. The other part is it was very, very dour. So I mean, those who were like sick and tired of the goofy Marvel, you're gonna like that aspect, maybe. But to me, I think that was kind of a detriment to this film where I think it needed a little bit more levity. And Raimi is the guy who can handle doing humor mixed with horror and drama and action and whatever, because he knows how to find those little moments, right? Like a great example is just anything J.J. Jameson did in the Spider-Man films, right? Or look at Ash, for instance, his character in the second and third film. He knows how to get those kind of moments out of people, and it felt like Doctor Strange should have been a character he'd have had more fun with, and it didn't feel like he had a lot of fun with it. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I didn't hate the movie either. So,
Yeah,
Mecca
I didn't
J's,
hate it, but I didn't love it.
yeah, Mecca J says, "How were the visuals in the movie? Were they incredible or just standard MCU fare?" Well, as I just pointed out, th- I didn't think none of the effects really stood out to me as bad per se. But again, you didn't get the kind of spectacles you did with the first film.
It could have
I
used
thought that the
practical
wire work
effects.
was shit. I'm sorry.
No,
What did you say,
it
Skip?
could
I
have
didn't
used
hear.
practical effects more so than what they did.
I think they did a few more than normal, actually, because it felt like Raimi had him in makeup in that one part. Let's say that he would be heavily in makeup.
Mostly, or at least
It looked like
had a lot
makeup
of
to me.
had a lot of dots on them because there's that one point where you can tell that's not makeup.
There's one part, yeah. There's a couple parts, maybe, but there's some parts where a lot of that looks like it was heavy duty makeup on him. Let's say I'll get into that more in the spoilers, but
I
that was
thought that the
probably
wire work was terrible. There was a lot
some
of
of it.
bobbling around, and yeah, I'm no wire work artist, but I thought that even when people are just kind of sailing through the air, there was a lot of bobbling going on, and that
noticed-
took me right out of it.
I noticed the girl who plays America Chavez, I forget her name, but every time she's usually strung up on a wire, she goes pigeon-toed. I noticed that. So that
Better
gives
than
was kind
camel
of the,
toed.
no, true, but that was kind of the giveaway for me. Was like, yeah, she's clearly on a wire there.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I wouldn't say that nothing stood out to me as overly bad or anything outside of just like that kind of stuff. But comparative to some of the last few Marvel movies, yeah, there was nothing that bad. Gonzalo Bergali says that last scene for Xavier illustrates current Picard so well.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm watching Picard. You're not even watching Picard, Tom. I am.
Well, I watched the first one.
Oh, it gets so
the first
much
season,
better.
I mean, that is. I didn't watch any of the episodes this season yet.
Oh, it gets way worse.
It does. Oh boy, does it ever.
But yes, I agree with that.
Which is funny because I've been hearing rumors that season 3 might actually be better because they got some new showrunner.
They also got rid of 2 cast members.
Yeah, and some other shit. So that's part of the reason why they may have gotten the original cast back. So I don't know. Professor Gray says this feels more like the 5th film rather than a sequel. Also, have they found a meta plot like the first 3 phases yet?
No.
Not really. No. This is still relying on the plot of a lot of the. They're still dealing with the aftermath of
A Loki.
Well, that more so Infinity War, but it seems like, but yeah.
Well, no, Loki
Endgame,
is the reason the
whatever.
multiverse exists. So
Well, they don't really mention that shit.
they don't mention him, but yeah. Unless
Don't they have the
if you
same
didn't watch
writer?
Loki, you'll be wondering why the multiverse is there.
What was that, 6?
Didn't the writer for Loki also wasn't he a writer on this movie?
I believe so,
No,
yeah.
the writer for WandaVision.
Oh, the writer for WandaVision, okay.
And he's also from Rick and Morty. And then basically these
Michael
guys were
something or other.
these were writing Michael Waldron, I think it is. They were
Yes.
They were writer assistants for many years. So they were assistants to screenwriters and showrunners and whatnot. And then they got a couple of credits. And I guess they have some really good agents because they managed to work their way into Marvel. And because they're new and green, and this is a great opportunity for them, they are just the yes sir, how high sir type of assignment writer for Kevin Feige and co.
I mean, this wasn't horribly. I mean, it's coherent. I mean,
It is. Oh,
I mean, I can't
understand
say
the motivations of the.
I can't say it's horribly written per se, but it's not.
It's not wow factor written. which it
No,
should be.
exactly. Considering what they could have done, especially after what we've gotten from Spider-Man and stuff like that, they definitely should have followed it up a little bit more. Mecha J says, would you say Wanda comes off more likable here than she did in WandaVision? Well, I'm curious what everybody else thinks, but I would say, without getting into spoilers, she does redeem herself in a way, let's say, but it's like convoluted as fuck.
I don't know if it's a redemption, but I think it's a coming to terms with the reality.
Yeah, I guess that's a better way to put it. And that's kind of where I'll get into stuff here in a little bit. And that's where it feels more like a WandaVision. This should have been the last 3 episodes of WandaVision because it really wraps up more of that than it does add anything to a Doctor Strange story. I mean, he doesn't feel like he's a cameo in his own movie, but I don't want to get into spoilers quite yet because we're almost there. We got a couple more super chats, and then we're just going to get right into it here.
I did look it up, and Michael Waldron is the screenwriter. Listed.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I just couldn't remember which show he worked on before. Cardinal Sin says the 2 screenwriters on Doctor Strange 2, neither of them have done anything of consequence before this. One of them wrote for Rick and Morty. Yeah, just as I only seen one screenwriter credited, but then again, I didn't pay attention to all the credits either. Thank you for that, Cardinal Sin. Joker Voice says 45 days till it gets shipped to D+, and it has stiff competition in those 45 days. Top Gun and Jurassic World, 4 flops in a row. Keep talking. I don't know if this is going to flop per se, but I get what you're saying. Let's see. We did get I think one more super chat in the process here. Let me make sure I didn't miss any more.
Yep.
That's it, just the one more? Okay. So let's grab that last one here. J-Love the Flash says, with how little different superhero die in the MCU, how crazy was it watching all the different deaths? Well, I think that's a good place to get into the spoilers.
Finally.
I think the problem here is that none of these deaths really had any consequence to them outside of maybe one.
Change
you better
the
change the
banner.
banner.
Yeah, I'm going to change it now. Okay. Where's the spoiler part? Okay, here we go. So no more no whining. There's gonna be spoilers. So no whining from anybody. Okay. Yeah, so kind of going off of the last question as far as Wanda and as far as the killing part, I was glad to see that it at least kind of made Wanda the villain. And it kind of held her accountable for what she had done before. But Yellow Flash was right. She does kind of kill herself. So, I mean, I guess I don't know if you consider that redemption in scripts at the eyes, not so much. I felt like they didn't overdo it with her outside of it took her an hour to realize the same thing that Wong told her earlier in the film. That drove me nuts. But outside of that, I didn't think she was that bad. I mean, she was bad as a villain, but I mean, I didn't think she was that bad of a villain, let's say. I thought she was a pretty decent villain for the most part.
She didn't have that many victims in this movie as she did in the show.
Well, yes and no. I mean, she killed a hell of a lot more people here than she did in the show, right?
A lot of people at the training school of the sorcerers. Yeah, they
Like a lot of
they
the sorcerers died. She killed all those Illuminati. She killed.
Dude, she was wiping out people left and right.
Say, I know there's a couple more she killed. She killed quite a few people.
I should have done a body count. It had to been like 50.
And that's
to
kind of like was when I was curious to see how they were going to get out of that, right? Like, so like, don't tell me they're going to have some big redeeming moment at the end, because Andre, I didn't really catch how he said it ended the other day, and I'm like, because I kind of tried to ignore as much as I could, but
I guess I'm comparing the amount of people killed with the people in the town who were taken over. But I guess being
she
killed is
tortured
worse
more
than
people in
being-
that town.
than
yeah,
being
that's
taken
true.
over.
But she actually,
Yeah.
I don't think she killed anybody in that instance, did she? She was just
No,
holding
I think
hostage.
Agatha killed more people in the town than
Okay.
Wanda did.
Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, using her as a villain, I think that was kind of not, I don't know necessarily say the ballsy, but having her kill and stuff. A lot of them were of no consequence outside of the sorcerers, because they're from another fucking multiverse anyway, for the most part. But I mean, yeah, it was a little it was a little refreshing, I guess, without trying to sound too like giddy, to see a little bit more of a bit of a more of violence in our MCU superhero movie. But I think we can thank Sam Raimi for a lot more of that than anybody. You could tell he was having some fun with some of that shit.
Yeah, I can pick maybe 3 or 4 sequences that are pure Sam Raimi-ish. Like for instance, the mirror trap, and then like the seeing the eye in the reflection, and then coming out of the gong. That was pretty.
Almost
Sam
all
Raimi.
of the zombie shit.
There's like one zombie.
Well, I mean, all the like ghosts and goblin little thingies or whatever you want to call them, and the spirits.
That's one of the things I thought was funny. By the way, people openly laughed in my theater when they went Walking Dead.
And that's the part I was talking about. Most of that, from what I could tell, was makeup.
And it
Yes,
was
there's a
stupid.
couple shots where, yeah, but it didn't look too bad for makeup. I mean, that was, I was expecting it to look a hell of a lot worse than that. It looked like something out of The Evil Dead to me. So that part was like whatever.
That was the moment when one of the moments when I wanted to walk out.
I have another one.
It was set up though. Well, there's lots.
I still thought it was lame. Another one was the battle with the music thing battle.
Oh yeah, with the music.
God, I thought
Yeah,
that
what
was
the fuck
epic.
was that?
See,
It's
I kind of
stupid
like
and lame.
that.
Well, maybe that's because you're a DJ and you're a musician by trade, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of clever. I mean, you can only do so much when guys are just kind of waving their hands around. I mean,
I'm like, no, my boombox is bigger than yours. No, my boombox is bigger than yours. Ah, but do you have the harp? That is a secret weapon.
The thing is that even though they were fighting with music, I was disappointed that they didn't really make any music as a result of it.
maybe. I don't know. You could hear
I
a few
think-
classical pieces in there.
Well, one of the music cues that I did really enjoy is at the beginning of the movie, you have like Godzilla-esque music cues when that giant kaiju thing is tearing up downtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
Those were two of my walkout musics. The point where it went all Walking Dead, and the point where the music. But I got more than that. I got one or two more.
Well, all right. Well, go ahead with your stuff, Mike. 'Cause let's get into, I guess. I mean, we're all over the fucking place with this. Cardinal Sin wants to know, how much screen time does Bruce Campbell have? Maybe
2 minutes.
2 minutes, if that.
Yeah, they're good 2 minutes.
Yeah, he's
was
in the
pretty
better
good,
2
yeah.
minutes. Yeah, his stuff's pretty good. Go ahead, Mike, and start your rant.
No, I don't have a rant. I just have selected little darts to throw. I actually am so. My rant is gonna have to mature and bake like a cake on this one, because right now I'm
I
just
mean,
pure
my
rage and
biggest
disappointment.
gripe overall with the movie was kind of something we just touched on, and that was, you know, Rue points out to her like halfway through the movie, like, what are you going to do with the other Wanda? Because clearly, when you find the other multiverse you want to take the kids from, do you just expect the other Wanda to just kind of give up? And she obviously takes that into consideration and just continues with her fucking thing, and at the end, that's what stops her. And it's just like, Yeah, that's kind of dumb. Like, just to
I
me,
found
that
the whole premise about the whole kids thing dumb. I'm like,
I mean, I
really?
get it.
You're gonna kill all these people. You gotta wipe out the interdimensions. Or maybe I'm gonna start my rent now. And you're gonna do all this shit all because you want two kids that you don't have, that you never have, that aren't gonna be around in this thing. But so help me, you're gonna go in another. You know what? You want two kids so bad? Go get a Mexican boyfriend. We bang them out left and right, all over the place. I mean, literally, I'm looking at this
Well-
whole movie. I'm sitting here. This movie's stupid because this chick just wants a couple of kids. Guess what? There's adoption. Guess what? There's foster parenting. Guess what? Find a Mexican boyfriend. He'll bang out as many as you want in short order. What the fuck?
But
Well,
she
my
wants
question-
her kids.
It was
And
would
so
bounce
what?
around
Make
these,
some other
in
ones.
these
If she wants some more
multiverses.
kids, she can
Where's
give birth
Vision
to
in
them.
any of these multiverses? I don't
Yeah,
get that
why wasn't
either.
he in that? That was a disappointment.
He'd
I
be
mean,
at
it
least
was
one or
just
two of them.
dumb.
You would
And
think.
let me tell you what else was dumb. You know what else was dumb? I kept seeing the movie Carrie when she's going through the little doors and they're opening. I'm like, this is Carrie. This is from the 70s. She's got the stuff running down her face.
Well, that's the oil from all the robots she's destroyed.
Yeah, by the way, the robots took me out too. Jesus.
Well, those were Ultrons.
Those were stupid.
They were.
Yeah, they were stupid.
Again, I just have to go back to the thing that just put a big smile on my face when I saw John Krasinski appear as Mr. Fantastic, and he played Jim Halpert, as I predicted, because the best and most popular role John Krasinski had ever done, and the most successful one, is in the movie where he says almost nothing.
His felt like
Yeah.
one of the reshoots, and his felt like he was shooting it on a green screen against no one. Like he was just being fed lines to say, and he had no idea what his motivation was.
Exactly. And as a Fantastic Four fan, and after constantly script, why can't I get a good Fantastic Four movie?
They're
Script,
cursed. It's a cursed family.
script. I'm like the guy is playing Reed Richards, which should be, I'm thinking, but maybe I'm Mexican and it's Cinco de Mayo.
She takes him out like Twizzler strips.
Exactly. And
irrelevant.
I'm like,
I know,
I'm
but
like,
it's just
how
funny
do you,
to
how
me.
do you blow another Fantastic Four character? The guy's only on the screen, what, 3 to 10 minutes?
3 or
More or
4
less.
minutes, and he doesn't. He performs the character because Reed Richards is the smartest man on the planet, and he has a lot of confidence with everything he says. And Krasinski plays him as a guy who's doubting the conviction that he's supposed to carry.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Doctor Strange, if you do this, there could be an inversion, and that's going to be bad. It's like that's
I mean,
not
he
how
didn't
Reed
look
Richards
bad.
talks.
I even liked the uniform. I didn't mind the. It
Costume's
kind of.
terrible.
I didn't mind it that bad. I thought it was all right.
Like hockey pads.
I don't know. I didn't mind the
I could have
uniform.
solved
He
the
looked
entire
like-
premise of this movie by introducing evil Wanda to my cousin Julio for Cinco de Mayo. They drink, they get obliterated, they hook up. We got twins happening in 9 months. Boom, movie plot overdone. Interdimensional universe is saved by Mexican Iron Man. Thank you. Mic drop.
What were you gonna say?
He looked
Six?
like he hadn't read the script. He was handed a few pages,
That's what I mean.
and I
yeah.
think it was Script who said that he didn't know what his motivation was, and he was just thinking about the craft services table that he passed on the way in, and he was thinking about getting back to that.
Well,
He
he
was
too,
big in the
but, yeah.
midsection in that one shot, that wide shot of him. He has the dad bod going on there. But
Well, and
the
Patrick
worst part
Stewart.
about it is
Stewart
that-
sounded like tired.
Oh,
That's how
Patrick
okay, we're not there
Stewart.
yet, but yeah, like with Krasinski, here's the other part too: is that it doesn't matter that he's not playing the Reed Richards we're going to see in the main MCU. The fact of the matter is that this is your first introduction of the character. It should have an impact, and it should be a positive one. It doesn't matter if he's going to die. It doesn't matter if he's going to be replaced by another actor or the same actor doing another character. He should have a positive impact so that when the Fantastic Four film is announced, there's that extra tier of excitement because we've already got a little taste of it. It's like you just don't phone it in that way, and unfortunately, that's why I don't like John Krasinski, because he only acts as one character. And
I'm kind of torn because I'm glad we didn't get any cheap, stupid cameos, but at the same time, the characters we did get, going off Krasinski and the rest of them, the only one we have any fucking attachment to, really, is Patrick Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the rest of them feel like, why are they here? Black Bolt, I guess I can kind of understand because they did the Inhumans, so I guess that's kind of a nod to anybody who actually fucking sat through that garbage. But I mean, the rest of them outside of Patrick Stewart, I'm like, why? You're right, script. This is a bad place to introduce Krasinski, at least the way they did. And the rest of them, like, yeah, the other guy we know from the other Doctor Strange movie, so I guess that's all right that he's there per se. But like the rest of them, I'm just kind of like scratching my head outside of Patrick Stewart, going, why are they fucking here?
Well, Patrick Stewart feels like he's a kid in a wheelchair, and like that wheelchair is way too big for his body, and it looks like he's
trying
in like a
to
teacup
pretend
ride.
that it's the animated version is why they gave him.
They
that
didn't get the
weird-
scale right though. That's the
Yeah,
thing
I know. It looks horrible. It looks dumb.
It looks
And
like a clown car.
Well, he feels like this little Phoebish guy. He's all like, "Welcome, Doctor
It's not built. It's not. It's literally not built for him, and it's the type of prop that they probably had to get 3 or 4 guys to pick Patrick Stewart up and then lower him down into, because it's supposed to be a very advanced, sleek-looking hover chair, and it's like twice as wide as it should be, and it just feels like he's in.
Because it was probably cheaper to do that with the CGI and cover up the wheels that way than it was to remove the wheels and actually do it scaled correctly.
Well, there's multiple
probably.
doors in that building, and he's not even going to be able to fit through in that thing.
That is true. He has to go through double doors only. I will say this: Haley Atwell looked way more feminine in her Captain Carter.
I pretty much forgot she was in the fucking movie, dude.
Than her interpretation in the What Ifs. Like, yeah.
I pretty much forgot she was there. Like, she was barely there.
She was wasted.
Literally wasted, cut in half.
Her presence was wasted in there. Yeah.
5 minutes or if that.
I couldn't take Picard. I couldn't take Professor X.
He was playing Picard pretty much.
He came off so Picard, and I've been watching. Oh God, the stupid Picard show. When he rolled up, he was like that guy that rolls up at Disneyland. Like, you remember? I don't know if you've ever seen that little the Mad Hatter ride. Like, I felt like he came up in a Mad Hatter ride, and he was the only one in a 4-person car.
Yeah, he was.
He looked so lame.
He was in a bumper car, a single-seated bumper car.
A single-seated bumper car, and he could barely reach the wheel.
I kind of felt bad for him for a little bit there, even though I know he's getting paid out the wazoo for it probably. But after a bit, I'm just thinking, like, after every take, he's probably going, "Can I go home now?"
I have a confession as a minority who always is on woke alert. I did like it when all the diversity and inclusion superheroes that were in this movie got axed one at a time in hilarious fashion.
They did die in very embarrassing ways.
I loved it.
What's also kind of interesting, and maybe people will say this is the woke part, I just think it's lazy writing, but Wanda's attacks on the male characters is far more vicious than the stuff that she did for the female characters. She almost was like toying with the female characters to give them like a chance. It was really just because they probably had Lashana Lynch and Haley Atwell for longer than they had Anson Mount and John Krasinski.
I will say I'm surprised they got away with Black Bolt's death in PG-13. That was
back of his head.
That was a Raimi death. That one you can tell Sam came up with, obviously.
I bet it was toned down from what he wanted to do, which is probably a lot more like Scanners.
He's probably like, I wanted the back of his head to blow out, but
I want to do Scanners for Black Bolt. No, you can't do Scanners. What if it's 25% different?
You mean, what do you mean you can't blow his head up? What if I just have an implosion in his head? That was kind of funny. That made me laugh. I think it was meant to in a way, but kind of a sick way. J Love the Flash says Captain Carter getting cut in half by your own shield was insane. I was almost hoping they would follow the What If story about Sinister Strange. Yeah, I was surprised how much blood was on the fucking thing. Like, I would say this is probably one of the bloodiest MCU films in that respect. But like, it's actually seeing blood. There was quite a bit, but yeah. As far as the Sinister Strange, I didn't see the What If story, so I can't comment on that.
Mm.
And then we got Juan Carlos Gonzalez Jr., who says, "What is you doing, Mike?"
I'm trying to get my damn camera going because I wanted to. Never mind, it's not working. Okay. Sorry.
Just heard Disney acquired H.P. Lovecraft rights. Really? LOL, just kidding. Just did shots, and am a little drunk. Not seeing Doctor Strange POS. Well, yeah, you're better off just waiting.
Yeah. Cardinal
Sin says, we already got our best Fantastic Four movie. Chris Evans was in it. I actually like the other one better. The one with from the 90s. I'll be honest.
Dash Attack says you're making me want to see it. Blu-ray at the library.
No, that's cheap.
That's the lowest effort you can
Yeah,
put
well,
into seeing a movie.
next to actually pirating it. Yeah. Brett Cohen says, Mike, on a scale of rabbit chicken to how much rabies crossbreeding do we have? Do they furry Wanda's pooch? AKA constraints to her powers.
That's what I was trying to go camera on. So we all know what a rabbit chicken looks like. It's got 6 legs, it's got 4 wings, and I don't know what it's got on the front and the back.
They
so
were
no
made
openings.
for eating.
I was gonna show him on camera to give. So he gets, out of 6 possible rabbit chicken paws, this movie gets 2 rabbit chicken paws out of 6. In my opinion. And 1 wing. Not and there's 4 wings. So it gets 1 wing and 2 out of 6 paws. That's what it gets.
It's pretty low. Was there anything? I mean, there was a few minor things I remember griping about. Otherwise, just
we can talk about the good things about the movie that we really liked.
Well, I'll get to that in 1 second, because the one thing that I had a gripe about was we were missing a beat for American Chavez to figure out how she can use her powers. We jumped a huge learning moment for her.
Yeah, he's just like, just believe in yourself, and all of a sudden, it was one of those moments. It's just like,
yeah, because we had one scene where she punches the wall, and it actually like works. It's like, okay, that's your first inclination that she might have a better understanding of controlling it, but she's still trying to figure it out. And I was expecting the second one to happen, but we didn't have that, so we just skipped all the way to the end, where all she has to do is think. I don't know, like.
Well, they set it up. They set up this whole idea that she can only do it when she's afraid, right?
Yes, which is cool.
It works to a point, and that's kind of like, okay, let's say, like how in Monsters Inc., they want the screams because the screams give them power, but the laughs give them even more power. They figure out, right? Well, that's the whole thing you have to do. Is it's just about concentration. You just have, or whatever it is, and whatever that emotion is that she can do, she has to find a way to do it in a way, and then you find another way that's more powerful. You just set it up that way. Like, you're right, that was not there. It was just kind of like.
Well, one thing that we learn as a pattern with this is that the portals open up when she's scared, but they take her to some place that allows her to be safe. Like, it's a sanctuary jump. Right?
Kind of. Doctor Strange says we always wound up where we needed to go. He said, remember?
Yeah, exactly. Which is if you're in danger, you need to go someplace safe. And every time that she's freaked out, has been in danger. And she always ends up someplace safe until.
Well, it's not just the safe part. They also go where they need to go to get the plot going, where they need to meet somebody or get something, and like that.
Yeah,
part
Doctor Strange had said that she had some form of control over it because they ended up where they needed to be.
Well,
not just to be safe.
There's a level of unawareness to it on her part, right? Like there's some sort of thing where she knows which universe to go to, but she's not cognizant enough about what it is. It's like a reflex to her.
Right.
So far, the pattern is that it's only out of fear for survival until something in that universe threatens her, in which case she then hops again. So,
well, isn't that like the Incredible Hulk? He would, America Chavez, she uses fear, and the Incredible Hulk uses anger, and he would seem to use his powers to do what he needed to be done. I mean, I don't.
But it's impossible to scare yourself.
The TV show was a long time ago, so I can't remember. But I think he only assaulted the bad guys rather than the good guys.
I mean,
well, he'd just go after anyone that's coming after him, and that would usually be the bad guy. But if innocent people got involved, Hulk would eventually become aware that they were innocent, because it would usually be blatantly obvious innocent people, like cowering and not doing anything to aggravate them.
He's like Harambe.
Oh, poor Harambe.
Wow.
Triggered.
Maxwell Quevedo wants to know, are there more cameos than the Illuminati? Not really.
Nope.
No, not really.
Not that you don't already know about, like Wanda.
Well, the end.
That's the thing. That's my bit part I was bitching about too, with the whole where are these cameos coming from people that are supposed to, they give us that Charlize Theron character where I had no idea who the fuck she is until somebody told me who she is, and it's like, oh great, so she's fucking Doctor Strange's female replacement. Awesome.
I thought she was his girlfriend.
No, that's his. The one at the very, very end?
Clea?
The one in the purple with played by
Charlize
Theron?
Yeah.
In the comic books, she takes over after he dies.
Oh, I thought she was his on again, off again girlfriend.
Well,
That
no,
may
they
be
had
in
a
the comics,
relationship,
but
and then I guess that's why she takes over. Is because they had a relationship.
yeah, I was gonna say that may
Oh,
have
okay.
happened for all I know,
Okay.
but yeah. They got married in the comics too, I guess, evidently. So there
Oh,
you go.
okay.
There you are. So it's a love interest, and then she
Yeah.
replaces her dead husband, like a wife replaces her dead husband if they're a senator or something.
Or
Oh.
CEO or whatever, if they leave him the company or whatever. Joey says, so how many theaters do you think they will buy out to try and save the first weekend? It looks lazy. Were they really trying? I
I
don't
think
think they're going
ticket
to be.
sales are pretty good. In advance reports of it.
I was going to say, I don't think they have to pad these so much. This isn't like a Captain Marvel situation. I mean, I think that this is going to be one of those movies that's divisive a little bit among the general audience because they're not going to get the movie I think they're expecting. Because I think this is one of the more darker, more serious tone-ish kind of Marvel movies, and not like Winter Soldier tone, but like just in a sense that it's got a little bit more gory elements to it. There's a lot of death. There's some scary elements to it for little kids, probably. Um, I mean, like an 8, 9, 10-year old probably fine, but I mean, outside of that, I mean, I just don't see the audience reacting to this in a positive way for the most part. I mean, there's going to be some MCU fans who are going to love it no matter what, and like myself, I didn't hate it. It's in that middling area as far as the MCU, as far as I'm concerned. But what do you guys think? You think the audience is going to enjoy this, or you think they're going to be a little bit more lukewarm to negative, like I think?
Lukewarm to negative.
I think it'll be kind of like an average. It'll get the crowds, but I think it'll have a steep decline. Nobody's going to want to go back and watch it again. Not in the frequencies of
Right.
other Marvel films.
Yeah, if you didn't see it in the first couple of weeks, you're probably not into it enough, into Doctor Strange enough to sift through what your coworkers and your friends and family are saying you about the movie, and you're just not going to go.
Yeah, and with it
I,
coming out in 45 days, I mean, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
I found it that he wasn't as heroic as he could have been or should have been for him being the marquee of this movie. I didn't. He was just hero enough to be the hero in this movie, but not a great.
Well,
He's in the mentor-father role with
I
America
like that.
Chavez.
I was going to say, I
like
think
that.
they did a pretty good job of him kind of realizing that, him being, he's pretty much a dickhole in every single fucking other multiverse. But like this, he has his chance to be different. You know what I mean? Like he can do the right thing and not be selfish and all that kind of business. So I didn't mind that stuff. And the role he played to America Chavez, I mean, it didn't make me hate her character, at least. So I mean,
Well, I think we should probably address that. She is not the key to everything.
yeah, she's not the
Mary
key to
Sue.
everything. Yeah,
She has a power that she can't control, and it causes her problems. And Wanda wants that power, and Doctor Strange is the only person standing between her, Chavez and Wanda, from her getting that power. And that's why he's mostly like the actual active hero trying to do things to help this kid, and she's kind of just being carried along by these two characters that are at odds with each other. And the other part too is like she does aid in the victory, but not through like power and force, but through actual humanity and showing the honesty of how evil Wanda is behaving resonates with the people that she cares about, and more of a humanistic approach to defeating a villain as opposed to just trying to beat them senseless because whatever.
I did
yeah.
find the scene where he says where the do you don't speak Spanish thing. I found that incredibly annoying and lame.
That was maybe one of the woker scenes, I guess.
And then that was definitely a woke moment. I forgot about that because I think I hated it so much. That was another point I almost walked out of the movie. I'm like, you know what? F this shit.
What about the free food?
Oh yeah.
That
And
kind
then-
of hits
and
them in
then
the ass though in that scene.
Did anyone notice that they transport into environmentally friendly and pro plant life?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
felt like left world.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that's kind of funny is that she says most food in most universes is free, and then she gets called out by the vendor that she has to pay for it, and it put into my mind is like, I don't think she actually believes that most food is free. I think that she foolishly thought it was free, just took it and left, and because she would bounce from universe to universe, she never had to face the consequences. And I think that's like an ignorant aspect of her because the fact that she says that and then immediately is called out that, you know, she has to pay for something shows that she probably has done this all the time and never even considered it and just made an assumption.
Yeah, because the line isn't. See, because the way Andre and everybody said it
The
first.
line isn't one of it's one more of arrogance as opposed to like confirmed.
Well, Andre said the way. See, he said it was in every other universe. That's not what she says. She says in some universes it's free. I think it was the exact.
No, she says in most universes
Is
free,
it
in some
most?
it's not. Yeah, in most it's free, and some it's not.
Some it's not. Okay, yeah, that's how she says.
But
it.
I think
gonna
that
say, yeah.
goes to the fact that she's probably gone to universes where like they handed her the food, and she just walks away, and they didn't call her out on paying for it because like, what did she just leave?
But how
You
good
know.
do those pizza balls look?
They did.
They look
like,
interesting.
Pretty interesting, yeah.
Like
I want to
pizza
know where
rolls,
they get
but in a
those
round.
little. I want to know where they get those little pepperonis.
Slim Jims,
No,
That's right.
most likely, yeah.
don't tell me that. I know they make pepperoni Slim Jims, but anyway, Joey says. So, how many theaters do you think? Oh, we got this one. Sorry. Thank you again, though, Joey. Sky Christie sends in. What is that? That's 25.
Rons.
Rons. That sounds like
25 Ron Swansons.
I can only handle one Ron at a time.
25 Ron Burgundies.
What if Shang-Chi was in the movie and gave us an explanation of how the rings were created? I think was okay, but I wanted more from the multiverse.
Well, we just brought up earlier where were the rabbit chickens to help them get through the multiverse.
That's what...
There weren't any rings in this film either, so.
That, as far as we know, anyway. Patrick Stewart could have been wearing a cock ring for all we know.
Yep.
I'm wearing it.
You know.
What was that? 6?
I said you could be for all we know.
It could be. Infinity Flare, does the movie even acknowledge Professor X as a mutant? No.
Nope.
I was kind of disappointed that, they didn't kind of get a little bit more into that kind of stuff, but there's already enough shit in the movie.
He uses his mutant powers, but there's no explanation as to why. And frankly, the way the story is framed, it's not needed. Because everybody else on that council has a power of some sort. So it's like, there's this person's power.
I mean, yeah, they don't really establish that he kind of knows who she is and all that kind of stuff. I mean, he says her name, her full name, but like...
But he's inside her mind, so like...
Yeah, we already would know it from that
And
respect.
before that, he already has a scene where he's implanting, or he's sharing the memories of the other Doctor Strange in his mind, so we understand that that's his superpower. So if you knew nothing of the X-Men, and this character came in and he does these things, and you have the little ripple effect around his head, you as an audience member would understand that he has mind powers, and that's all you really needed for that.
But it would have been fun to have, like, it could have been a moment to catch her off guard and have him go like, I knew your father, or something like that. And then that would kind of catch her by surprise or whatever. But yeah, they didn't necessarily need it. I think they did okay with his aspect. The rest of the characters, I'm just like, who are half these people? And the other half, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of a waste. Dara Muth says, in the comics, Wanda and Strange are pretty much the same power level. And this Strange is cucked and hard.
Not really.
Yes and no. I mean, she's
using another form of magic to give her an advantage. That's the thing. Like, she's using a very evil tome to help her.
Well, that's kind of what it is. She uses the dark book. So his original plan was to go get the light book. Yeah. So I mean, like, that's really kind of all it was. It was kind of like, yeah, he was trying to even the playing field. And when they had all the sorcerers against her, they were holding their ground. It wasn't until she got into the mind of the one dude and he was able to knock out enough of the shields that she was able to get in and break through. But even through that whole time, it still took her forever.
She wasn't going anywhere. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought they did a pretty good job with most of that. I mean, it's tough to find things to bitch about the movie outside of little nitpicky things, right? Like, and they're big enough that it didn't help the movie, but my biggest issue with the movie is it should have been the last couple episodes of WandaVision. And then
what was going on in that film did not warrant a feature film. It felt more like in a Disney Plus thing. Like, you could have introduced American Chavez kind of like in the midway point of WandaVision, and how she's able to sort of reconcile that there's something else going on. And then when she loses her kids, it's like, okay, I'm hunting down this girl because in other universes, I'm able to see that my children still live and I want to go be with them. And
It could have even been. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I say it could even have been like a Disney Plus event where it kind of conglomerated all of these shows into this thing and spun off of, like No Way Home and had like, the idea that Loki set up the multiverse and all that kind of stuff and WandaVision and all that stuff kind of going off of those two shows. It could have been like kind of like one of those event things on Disney Plus, and then I wouldn't have felt so cheated. Because that's my thing is I feel like, yeah, I was entertained for 2 hours, but I don't feel like I got out of it the same kind of thing I normally would expect out of a Marvel movie, right? Like it just, and it has nothing to do with just coming off of Spider-Man No Way Home either, right? Like it just.
Yeah, I went into this pumped and ready to be excited about a new Marvel movie, and because I love Doctor Strange and I love Wanda, absolutely adore Wanda, and I came out very disappointed, very let down.
I mean, and I constantly had that problem where I was asking myself this little question and that little question. Even got to a point where it's like, okay, if the moment he figured out Wanda was the problem, or that he was the one that he was getting her, he went to her to get help because he knew he was dealing with witchcraft, and he was like, well, shit, this is the witch that's trying to kill this girl. And not only that, he knows her. He should have gotten a few more Avengers involved. That's the other part. I'm like, I know it feels like fan service to a point, but you would almost think that like instead of going to all the sorcerers and stuff, he would also get a few of her friends, people who know her, in case maybe they can talk her down, because it's not like him and her are that close, right? There's plenty of there's plenty of other people who are still around where he could have just said, hey, Wanda's going off the fucking deep end, I don't know what to do, maybe you can help, and just get a couple of people from the other movies.
I don't know about that because Scarlet Witch is gone.
I was gonna say who's left now that you just you made me think
Scarlet
of that.
Witch is sorry, not,
I knew where you were going.
Hawkeye's
about all that's left.
Gone. Vision's gone. Hulk was never really around.
He's gone off planet, ain't he?
At all. She doesn't know Spider-Man really.
Hawkeye, really.
Hawkeye doesn't. Yeah, kind of. Well, she kind of has Hawkeye, but he's. So Hawkeye would be one, and I guess maybe Falcon. So she'd have Hawkeye and Falcon, but I don't think. I think she has a better relationship with Hawkeye than Falcon because he.
But that's how you get the other two and get those two involved right there. There's your other two Disney Plus shows. See what I mean? It works better, is what I said. It's kind of this. We're getting it all together into like its own Avengers thing on Disney.
Well, and I actually think the way the movie was laid out, there were some natural breaking points for an episodic series type of. I think the way. I mean, it was short. It was only 2 hours, but. I do think it could have been broken up into 2, 3, maybe, at least episodes.
When somebody sent me something, I wasn't able to look at it yet because it's a video, not a story. But it's about, I guess, Miss Marvel is supposed to be going to theaters or some shit. I don't know if they're just putting a couple episodes out or what. I don't know the specifics, but okay.
Oh, is that the going to theaters in Pakistan?
Maybe that's what's going on. I've been gone all day, so I have no idea if there was any news, to be honest with you.
Well, this happened. That was announced few days ago. Let's see. Disney Plus is not available in Pakistan because the character's background, she's Pakistani. They're going to play it in the theater in 3 blocks: June 16, June 30, and July 14. They're going to put blocks of episodes in the theaters, just in Pakistan, though.
That would probably be the case. Cardinal Sid says, Tom, you fucker. I had actually admittedly awesome Koalas in the Ring song through my head for last week. You better play it at the end of the stream. Normally we don't, but we might make the exception this time out. Thank you for that, Cardinal Sin. Infinity Flare says, is there any established reason why Wanda stealing Chavez's powers would be a bad thing? Chavez didn't die when Wanda took her powers, right? Yes. Well, they do establish this, yes.
Well, Wanda hasn't taken her powers, and she would die if her powers are taken.
That's what I was just going to say, yeah. And it actually comes to a point where not once but twice, the first time it was Strange, the second time it was Wu or whatever says, or is it Wong or Wu? Which one is
Wong says
Wong
comes to the conclusion that Strange should take Chavez's powers because Strange could protect the powers better.
Which
than
would
Chavez,
ostensibly kill her, yes.
Which would ostensibly kill her, and Strange advertise against that because,
Which is the way the movie starts out with her Strange that she knew.
yeah, like he apologizes and says, "I'm going to take your powers because you can't do this." Like
Because
you're,
it's better than
yeah.
the alternative.
And Wanda tries to take the powers, but Doctor Strange stops her. Even though it's a really long sequence of him getting the ability to stop her because she's taken her powers for like a good 6 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think she's also dreamwalking in that whole sequence too, so that's why she wasn't actually taking the powers through that whole thing.
No,
So
she wasn't dreamwalking at that point. Only Strange was dreamwalking at that point. She was just she had basically Chavez tied up by all fours and was just slowly draining her out.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because when because she was still free when she was dreaming. You're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, Infinity Flare. Is there any established? Okay, we got that one. Yes. Yeah, they established that pretty good. Christian Zeminski, if I'm saying that right, says, I feel like the quality of Marvel movies is dropping slowly. I felt disappointed after watching it and wonder what Thor will show. Like I hear what you're saying here, but I haven't watched all of Eternals or any of Shang-Chi really, so I can't speak to that, but I'm willing to bet this movie's better than those. I don't know, Mike, you kind of sounded like you didn't like it much more than those, but
I only
Had more
stayed.
likable characters.
I
Yeah,
only.
but you
I
didn't
only,
walk out of this one.
No, I didn't. But that's because we had a show to do tonight. I would have walked out.
Oh, that's right.
What I saw of Eternals was
Eternals
dreadful.
was awful. I saw Eternals. Eternals was just awful and boring, and Layman was not a triumph.
I still put this. I mean, and again, it all depends on your taste, but I mean, I'd put it in that Iron Man, better than Iron Man 2, and that Iron Man 3.
All Iron Man movies are perfect. I don't want to hear anything different.
Ant-Man 2 range, somewhere in there. Like maybe in the top 15.
I'm kind of forgiving of all the Iron Man movies. I know I shouldn't be, but
I am too, though.
Structurally speaking, this movie, again, it feels like 5 movies in one. So structurally, it's worse written than most of the other Marvel films, save for a few. But this one still has a charming aspect of it because of the cast. Because nobody gives a terrible performance aside from John Krasinski.
Patrick Stewart's feeling mighty.
Well, Patrick Stewart can't act anymore. He's old and decrepit. But yeah, like it's the main cast that people were following throughout the entirety of the movie. Wong is really good. Benedict Cumberbatch is doing really good despite his terrible hair. And the America Chavez girl, I was not revolted by her. I was actually like on her side, hoping that she would figure out her.
Yeah, they could have really taken her off the woke deep end, and they didn't.
They did. No, they basically have a pseudo father-daughter relationship. That's what they're kind of doing because he actually cares for this kid and he nicknames her a kid, and at the end of the movie he takes her to learn the sorcerer ways, and she's like, hopefully one day I'll find my parents. He's like, I hope you will too. Like that's there's some camaraderie, there's endearment there's emotions that you actually believe.
And that's the thing I found weird as to why they made such a big stink over the single parent family or the same sex parent family, because it's barely in the movie. They don't make a big stink about it. Yeah, and it's not even
highlighted or showcased.
If they wouldn't have said anything about it in the lead up to the movie, I wouldn't even have thought twice about it, to be honest with you.
I still didn't think twice about it. I saw it. I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine.
Well, I was expecting more from it. That's where I was like trying to, like, to be honest with you, I was waiting for the end, and this is kind of funny, like, because I was mentioning it before. Like, now it's fear that makes her do that. No, then, like, I was waiting for her to figure out that, it's when I think about the love of my mother's that I can control it. I was waiting for that to be the crutch.
Oh, it's like, yeah, if fear triggers it, but if I focus on my parents, I can also trigger it as well.
The love of my parents, kind of thing. Like, so I thought they were going to make that like the whole big key to the whole thing, but no, they don't even really bring it back again outside of her just saying, yeah, I hope I find my parents. And he's like, you just said, yeah, I hope you do too. Like, they don't, it's not, they don't show them making out or nothing like that. So, I mean, it's not like
they're not waving any flags or preaching around.
No, none of that shit.
It's basically, what is the most honest type of parental relationship between parents and a child? Oh, we'll just do that in a quick scene.
No, and they didn't have any, and actually you're right, because like they didn't have any, like a lot of times when people are putting Strange down, and rightfully so, because they don't trust him, because every other version of Strange we see is,
Done
basically
something. Yeah.
done something bad. So like even she is like defending him all the time, and like you said, treating him like that father figure, like she wants to trust him. She has that attachment to him because of her Doctor Strange, but she also was betrayed in her eyes in the beginning by that Doctor Strange. But then that trust comes full circle at the end, where she literally gives herself over willingly, right? Like that was the whole thing. She's like, I understand now why it has to be done this way. I get it. So she's like ready to die, right? To
And then Strange is
sacrifice
like,
herself.
no, they were wrong. You can do
Yeah.
this. Yeah. It was missing that one beat for me to understand that she could actually do this at this point. Um, and the other part too is like that also comes at the sacrifice of, again, there's not really a coherent character arc for any of the characters. Maybe WandaVision to a degree, but it's really, really quick. Is that like Stephen Strange's character arc is to be a bit less of the selfish hero for glory and work more as a team and allow the other people around him to contribute. That was one of, I mean, they also explained that kind of in a very bold way in one of the scenes with Christine. And I'm like, okay, I get it. That's what they're trying to do here, but they're not really building. They're not showing the they're not showing the consequences of the flaw of Doctor Strange trying to take all the burden on him by himself and not let the other people contribute. So you're not getting the more dramatic learning moment there for him to come to terms and realize, yes, you know what, it worked before, it's not working now. These people are capable. I should allow them to do what they do best because they allow me to do what I do best as well. And that type of relationship. But yeah, it's a lot of it's kind of like glossed over. I would say it's very, first year writing course level talent. It's like you got the idea there, but you're not playing with it enough. You're not, nurturing it enough to really resonate and have the impact that a story like this would require.
Yeah, sadly, as much of the little bits and pieces that feel like Raimi, it almost feels like he was just kind of work for hire here. Professor Gray says, biggest problem I see so far is that we are how many films shows into this and we still don't have an overall story to follow. Who is the big bad? Well, I think they were kind of setting up Wanda to be the big bad in this respect. And because what is the last film of Phase 4? We're getting close to near the end, ain't we?
Maybe.
Wasn't like Guardians supposed to be the last one?
I think Guardians 3 is
Yeah,
supposed to be the last
Guardians.
one.
Yeah.
So like they set up Kang in Loki, and Kang is a significant villain within the comics. Kang the Destroyer. So they set him up in the show, and because of what Loki did, there's now a multiverse, which means there's multiple Kangs, and there's something going on there. But it just feels like, because again, Thanos' story covers 3 phases of Marvel. So there's that. And I wonder if they're trying to do the same thing with Kang, trying to repeat that formula, have Kang's being the big bad for 3 phases of Marvel as well. And I don't think they've got the audiences in the palm of their hands in the same manner they had those first 3 phases in order to pull that off.
And something that stuck out to me was, and this is a little off topic, but on back onto a different topic. He knows who Spider-Man is. Remember in Spider-Man No Way Home, he said
he doesn't know who Peter Parker is, but he knows who
that's
Spider-Man
true.
is. Yeah.
That's true. I didn't think of that. Okay, so that one kind of okay. Other than that, it was just like piddly shit. There really wasn't anything I could find that really stood out. Darren Hughes, who's been a member for 5 months, it looks like, the maximum effort puppy level, says, hail mods, panel, chat, great discussion, but gotta go, and not because of spoilers. My memory is so bad I forget them by the time I'd see the movie anyway. Yeah, I kind of tuned out when those guys were talking about him the other day, and I mean, I forgot enough to be able to enjoy the film for the most part. I just wish it was a more enjoyable film. Firebird 1 says, can't watch Doctor Strange 1 and 2 in order and understand what's going on. All plot lines are dropped from Doctor Strange 1. Sort of. Like you have, it kind of goes back into the love story a little bit more. Like that's the thing we were talking about, is that there's moments where it feels like we're getting a sequel of Doctor Strange, but then it's like, okay, now we're going to take a left turn and we got to finish up WandaVision story.
Yep.
That's what it kind of feels like. And it's like, what happened here? That's, I guess, about it. I think everybody agrees. So, like, that's
Yeah.
the main issue. Yeah. Gonzalo Bergali says, any opinions on Elfman's score? It didn't stand out to me in any real way.
Nope.
Very
I would-
passive.
I was
Very
very kind of
passive.
disappointed. In fact,
Unnoticeable and not noteworthy and unnoticeable.
the only time it stood out is when he stole Giacchini's score, Giaccani, or however you say his name, for Doctor Strange at the end. That was
I
it.
didn't even think
and
about
the,
it
and the
until the
X-Men
credits
score. That
started
was the
to
only
roll.
times it stood out. Yeah. When you got the little
Yeah, Ron Wasserman's thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the only two times it really stood out to me. In the music scene, but that was meant to that way. So, but see, I also enjoyed that bit more than you guys did. Otherwise, yeah, I was kind of disappointed. But yeah, I think we've exhausted most of our thoughts on this. Was there any final thoughts you guys have before we wrap this up?
Well, I did have a couple things that I guarantee nobody on this panel thought of, and I'll bet you nobody in chat would occur to. And that was at the wedding. Her wedding dress was not worthy of that fancy of a wedding, and also her hair looked like somebody who's first year out of nursing school, who still wants to look pretty, but has to be functional too.
What's the name of that actress again?
Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Getting
It
married
just-
in
it
her late
wasn't-
40s. Good for her.
Yeah, it was those little details that just kind of took me right out of the. I should have gotten lost in the story, and I didn't. There was all these little things that just added up to a not great experience. I gave it a 4 out of 10.
I don't know if I'd go that low. I'd give it more like a 6, which is about where I put like Iron Man 3 and all that shit. Soundtrack wise, was there any really music in it besides the score? I'm trying to think. Maybe there's
Nope.
one or two songs, but I'm trying
There
to remember
was-
if there were.
There were quite a few songs that were like singled out in the end credits.
Yeah,
I
that
can't-
doesn't count though.
I say nothing
Okay.
stands out to me from the movie. I
No.
think there was a few background music here and there songs, but nothing that really was like utilized in any way that really stood out.
Nope.
But yeah. And then Bayonola says Clea is part dimension and has connection to Dormammu.
Dormammu.
Maybe they are bringing him back. Can he come back?
I think so, because he made a deal with him that.
Oh, that's right. He didn't kill him. He just made a deal with him. That's right. Yeah. Would have helped if I watched the first movie again before I saw this one.
I haven't seen it since theaters, so yeah.
Well, I saw it on Blu-ray, but the 3D Blu-ray. But
Cool.
it's one of my. I think it's one of the better 3D ones. This one was kind of in 3D. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't as good as the first one. in that
3D's
respect.
useless. The fact that they keep doing it, it's useless.
It had some fun moments in this one, especially with like the little ghouls and stuff popping out and shit at the screen and stuff. Like there was some fun stuff here and there. It just didn't utilize it as well as Ant-Man and the first Doctor Strange. I did like the trip
did you
one. I've
guys-
had worse trips than that. That did make me chuckle. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Six.
What did you guys think of the Avatar trailer?
Who cares?
I felt just like the first one.
I didn't.
The first one, and
I
I saw it in
wasn't-
3D. So
I didn't stay for any after credit scenes. Nothing. As soon as that movie was over and the first credit rolled, I was out.
Oh,
well, that's too bad because the final credit scene was the one that was actually
Yeah.
worth it.
You know what?
people
I'm
in
getting
my
to the
theater
point where- I'm getting to
applauded
the
this
point-
movie.
I'm getting to the. No one applauded in our movie. Not one soul. In fact, I'm telling you, there were laughs where laughs shouldn't have happened. So
My tongue's.
I don't know. If you can't give me a good movie that I want to stay with, the last thing I'm going to do is stay for your effing end credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had to pee, I would have been gone. But I was.
Oh, I had to pee, but I stuck around. But all right, let's get this last super chat here. It says Holocron Records Kang is the bad guy of Ant-Man 3, and they moved that up too. So did they? Wasn't that the one they moved? Or no? Did they? Yeah, they
They
moved.
swapped it with another.
Yeah, it's
thing, yeah.
Marvels.
Yeah, the Marvels. Yeah.
Sorry about the hiccups there. But all right, let's wrap this up and get out of here. I might head over to Comics Division. I just put the link in the chat, so you can join us over there. They got the Thursday Throwdown going on. I'm sure they'll be talking about the movie over there too. Other than that, you guys got anything you want to plug that you're coming up doing here at all? Six, you got anything you're going to be on this weekend?
Yeah, I just posted the link to the Midnight's Edge Gilded server.
Awesome.
It's super easy to join Gilded, so sign up for
Fuck
that.
you, Gilded.
Thanks,
Sorry, I had to
Tom,
do
for the
that.
support.
It's a gimmick. I had to record that like 5 times the other day for Toxic Man Flu. Like a bunch of different ways. Like, fuck you, Gilded. Fuck you, Gilded. Fuck you, Gilded. Shit like that.
You still going on with that?
I just didn't like Gilded, and they forced me into signing up for it. I don't like any new social media thing. I hate social
Dude, I need social media like a hole in my head.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing.
Like, for a living, I need peace and quiet. So the more my cell phone like gets text messages, DMs on
But
Twitter.
do support the Midnight's Edge Gilded. If you're a part of it, head on over there. There you go. Brett Cohen says, Aussie blessing to you all. Aussie blessing to you all. You cunt, you fucker. Have a good one. Hey, Brett. Thank you for that. That is a cool, scary, fucking looking avatar there, Huggy Wuggy. And with that, I think we're going to wrap this up. Script, did you have anything coming up?
Nope.
I think we're going to try and do that side adventure here soon. So hopefully this weekend, if not soon. Mike, anything for you coming up?
Nope. Just everybody watch Midnight's Edge tomorrow morning and buy a t-shirt.
Yeah,
They
buy
can
the Amber
sponsor
Turd
me.
shirts. Yeah.
Yeah, while you can get it. Get them while you can, kids. Before they're gone.
Wait,
They
we got
won't
a
last
member
forever.
chat.
Did we? Okay. What's
In
the
my-
number? Chat?
I'm struggling to copy and paste it.
Nicholas Horton, who's been a maximum effort puppy for 10 months, says, Tom, that Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie premiere in August. I'm not going to watch it. The Krang design looks like crap.
Oh God, yeah. And not only that, they changed the Utroms to the Krangs. Like,
What?
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
yeah. They're just calling the whole race the Krang.
Okay,
So-
there it is.
You know what? That's about as reckless of understanding your property as what is going on with Secret Hideout in Star Trek.
Pretty much. Mikey, you got anything coming up?
No, just buy t-shirts, everybody. Amber Turd t-shirts.
Before they're gone. And yeah, I think I'm gonna head on over and see if they need me over at Comics Division. So see me over there if not. And for Cardinal Sin, if he's still listening, here's the rare one on Midnight's Edge After Dark. Some koalas in the rain.
Woohoo!
Koalas in the rain, no fucks given.